The Liebeslieder-Walzer ballet is extraordinary in Balanchine's choreographic canon. He loved Germany, first of all, and he loved the leader, and to use these beautiful love songs was not something that he was really doing a lot. Mostly it was Stravinsky. He did love Brahms. He did Brahms-Schoenberg Quartet, but this particular ballet is very personal. At the time when he choreographed it, there were 4 beautiful women that he was very fond of, and some wonderful men, but it was mostly about the women. Mr. Balanchine had a wonderful quote that said, "The first act of Liebeslieder-Walzer are people dancing, social dancing, and they're expressing different love relationships. It really is on much more of a human, personal level." Magically, when the first song set finishes, the dancers leave, a star drop comes up, the walls become ephemeral, the ladies put on point shoes, they're in tulle instead of satin and heels, and it's their soul dancing now, not a person. So it's a much deeper level of poetry and relationship between the man and the woman partners. And the group interactions are much more consolidated.
The women, of course, get to really show themselves at this point, and the man is helping them, and you always feel like you can fly at that point, you know, and so it's very, very expressive at this point. And I just remember performing it. It was so different, the change between the part 1 and the part 2. It was very, very special.
And the whole thing is a waltz. Every song is in 3/4 time, and he's looked at all those different ways to present it. And it's really quite fascinating and beautiful because he's attached an emotionality to it as well, and an expansiveness of dancer person. And the audience feels this. They get to feel it.
You're given these roles when you are more advanced. So these are for soloist couples.
And mature artists.
Yes, so it becomes, you know, quite a privilege to get to dance it. So, and we know Mr. B was so fond of the waltz in general, and Viennese, anything Viennese was very particular to him. And he would be very upset that us Americans could not waltz.
Often he would say, "You don't know how to waltz."
We spent hours just learning how to waltz.
It was quite challenging with our younger generation. I'm now very old, and the dancers we're working with are not, but social dancing went away before they were born. So we're really dipping into a genre that is not familiar to them. I'm trying to help the dancers find these different levels, and it takes a while because they're focused on the steps, but the steps are almost based in that different levels of relationship.
And it's coming from the music too. So we have 4 couples, and each of them have a different quality that the dancers are still working on. And the choreography reflects that, and there's joy and then sad.
There's disappointment, there's even betrayal. I found that dancing this ballet actually expanded my ability to see in the ballet step that I'm doing what it's portraying. It was illuminating somehow at that point in my career.
I just remember how important it was to do the group work. So you have to first establish group, because we're all in a very small space. Then you have to begin to get the identity of your character, you know. So, and that takes a while to do that.
You know, Mr. Balanchine's favorite dancers was Fred Astaire. He and Ginger Rogers were doing a jazz version of ballroom dancing, and that combined with the elegance of the almost Edwardian, I keep calling it, period, is what he was going after. This song cycle doesn't get performed that often, and it's a real opportunity for the quartet. And it's 4 hands at the piano. There are 6 wonderful musicians competing with 8 wonderful dancers, or contributing together. The whole setting, the design, includes the piano and the singers. It's actually a soiree, which I guess happened a lot in Vienna and other places where newly created music would be presented at a home for invited guests. And this is the setting. The stars are the singers. The dancers are the listeners. And perhaps what they're dancing is what they're hearing. But the trick is to bring the social waltzing into the ballet classical choreography. And it's the mix of those two that actually elevate that second part into the place where it can go, which is a very beautiful high place.